morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel and a happy Friday. It is Friday and it means one thing. It means two things. One, the weekend is here. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. But number two, it of course brings a new event into the game, and of course with that, a new tank. So we have seen Halloween tanks everywhere. You know, we've got the Vulcan, we've got the Annihilator, the Pharaoh, the Gravedigger, the Smasher, the Lycan. There is many other tanks, the Dracula, the Hellsin. There are loads of different Halloween tanks in the game. This time there is a new Halloween tank, and it is called the Forest Witch. Now, one thing for sure, Wargaming's art department or whatever have done a fantastic job with the look of the tank. Now, obviously, this little thing on the left-hand side of the turret does get kind of confusing because it's not a gun. Of course, there is only one gun, but because they've added that, of course, the gun is all the way on that right side, or left side if you're looking at this side. So you've got to bear that in mind, especially when you are looking around corners. That can be a little bit tricky, but it is a Halloween tank. We've seen in the past just how strong some Halloween tanks are. Is this like that? Is this like all the other Halloween tanks, or most of the other Halloween tanks? We will see very, very shortly. But let's have a look at the stats first, and then we will talk about the tank. So, first of all, it has the emergency track. Now, this goes 4 kilometers an hour in reverse or whatever. So if you get tracked, you can still move at 4 kilometers per hour. So at least you can move out of the way if you do get tracked. You can try and get behind a building or whatever. So not a little bad thing for that tank. Now, the turret armor, it is a tier 7 heavy tank, remember. So the turret armor for a tier 7, 193 millimeters, is very strong. And the hull at 128. So yeah, the turret armor is very, very strong. The DPM, however, is pretty low at 1,256, but it's that low for a reason. It is a 4-shot auto reloader. Yes, it is an auto reloading gun. Now, of course, it isn't. I don't think it isn't. It doesn't say it's the reverse shell, but shell 1, if you do shoot all 4 shells, you've got 5 second, 6 second, 8 second, and then an 18-second reload on that final shell. So, of course, do not shoot that last shell if you can. If you do, your DPM is absolutely shocking. So try to keep that last shell. And that is what makes it good to have 4 shells, because you've still got 3 shells and you've got 350 alpha per shot. So yeah, it's really good to have that 4th shell. If it had 3 shells and that 18 second on the 3rd shell, then I think the tank would be really bad. But yeah, having 4 shells, as long as you don't use that 4 shell, then it's not bad at all. So the penetration, 187 on your AP. We are running this with calibrated shells. Of course, it's an auto reloader. So 252 on your APCR. Now, again, for a tier 7 tank, that really isn't bad. You got sorry, not a 350. Where do I even get 350? You've got a 240 alpha on your AP, 210 on your APCR, and 320 on your HE. So not too bad, to be fair. Yes, 240 is a little low, but I think with that alpha, it is kind of balanced. Aim time 3.8 and the dispersion 0.344 with only a 6 degrees gun depression. Top speed of 36 kilometers per hour. So we've been talking about the tank. Me and a couple of other CCs, we've been talking about the tank, and we are in two minds. Some of us think it's OP, some of us think it's balanced. Not many of us actually think the tank is bad. Now, what this tank actually really reminds me of, not as in terms with playstyle, but is the Gravedigger. And why it reminds me of the Gravedigger is basically when you are top tier in this thing, when you're coming up against tier 6s, it is a fantastic, possibly an OP tank. But when you're going to come up against tier 8s, I don't think it's going to be as strong. And the Gravedigger is the same. You come up against tier 6s, the Gravedigger is insane. But you come up against tier 8s, then it is really like a meh kind of tank. But yeah, it looks fantastic. It plays fantastic. Again, as long as you don't use that last shell, unless you absolutely have to, then yeah, I think it really is a nice tank. As I've said, some of us contributors has said it's overpowered. Some of us have said it's balanced. I do think it is overall more balanced because, yes, when you come up against tier 6s, you are very, very strong. But nowadays in Blitz, it's not often that you are top tier. You might get 1 out of 7 or 8 battles that you're top tier. Other than that, you're probably going to be bottom tier. So then if you're bottom tier all the time, the tank becomes kind of average. But yeah, it's still going to be fun. It looks fantastic. It is a great looking Halloween tank. Obviously, the turret is really, really big. And the fact that the gun is all the way to the left side, really, it can be against you, but it can also help you, especially if you're trying to side scrape or anything like that. Then yeah, that's when it becomes better. Now, stupidly, I went for the shot. Someone killed him. And now I have an 18-second reload whilst being a one-shot. So this very early on, of course, I need to turn. You can see the track traverse isn't the greatest. I am tracked, so I'm just going for sort of 4 kilometers or whatever it is. Well, now I am anyway. But I managed to get the bounce when I need it. And that is what kind of happens with this tank. Like, the armor profile seems okay, but when you really need it to, it becomes much, much better. Again, you've got to angle. If you move about, angle yourself, the armor does obviously become a lot better. So we are now a one-shot. We've only blocked 340 damage. And we're only on 1.3k damage. There's only 3 tanks left, but there's still plenty of hit points. Now, I'm going to wait to reload at least my 3rd shell. So there's 1, there's 2. Am I going to take the last shell, or should I just wait at this point? And I'm like, no, do you know what? I'm going to wait. I'm bouncing this guy. So there's 1 bounce. So because I'm bouncing, I'm like, okay, you can come to me. He's not obviously the greatest. He's just completely donked that shot there. So let him come to me because I know I can't take him with 1 shot or 2 shots. So ideally, I need all 4 shots reloaded. So there's 1, and I'm just going to back up. He did actually pen me there. I only tracked him that time, but I do manage to get the 3rd shot off, and it makes me kill him and still having that final shot. So now just is the T-34. 1, the Helsing's going, he's basically a one-shot, and I managed to kill him. So, yeah, the armor profile is not absolutely special. Obviously, you've got to put your tank in the right position for your armor to work. But, yeah, against tier 6s, you're going to probably bounce all day long. Not so much on the hull. So, yeah, if you can go hull down, you're going to bounce on that turret all day long. But when you start coming up against those tier 8 tanks, then you're going to find that you're getting penned an awful lot more. And you're probably not going to think that the tank is great. But yeah, up against tier 6s, tank is absolutely fan-dabble-doo. And yeah, I don't mind the tank. You know, it looks fantastic. For a Halloween tank, it definitely looks the part. So let me know your thoughts on the Forest Witch tank, the Halloween tank that you can probably get for free in the upcoming event, or in the event that should be in-game now. I'm not 100% sure right now how the tank is going to come, whether it'll be crates or whether it'll just be the event. I really don't know. But one thing for sure, you're getting a good tank, especially if it is for free. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye.